next. Matt, what's album number 2?
So album number 2 is 1999 by Prince. It's not Prince in the. I think it is. It's his first album with the Revolution. Although in Best Ever Albums it just says Prince, not Prince and the Revolution. But anyway, 1999 comes in at number 70 in the 1980s on Best Ever Albums. Number 6 in 1982. Number 493 of all time. It's Prince's third highest rated album, behind Purple Rain at number 1 and Sign of the Times at number 2. Two albums that we will cover. And right behind it is Dirty Mind, which is an album that we covered in a previous Cold Listen. Mm-hmm. This is the only album tonight that is on Rolling Stone's list. It comes in at number 130, and Prince is listed as the number 186 of all-time artists in Best Ever Albums. So, John, I think you go first here.
Yeah, this is a lot of album. Let me start by saying that it's so. I will say that be prepared, because you're gonna pack a lunch to listen to this album. There are many tracks that are in the 7 to 9 minute range on this. I mean, it starts with two mega hits, 1999 and Little Red Corvette. I mean, I don't have Spotify up, but I'm certain they're the most streamed songs on this entire album. And then for me, then it hits like a little bit of a rut after that, where the songs I just wasn't connecting to as much. They were long, especially that period of Let's Get Married, Pretend We're Married at 4 to Automatic at number 6. And it kind of dragged the album down for me a little bit, and I'm like, is it going to be one of these albums? But then Something in the Water Does Not Compute came on, and basically until International Lovers, it's like, whoa, okay, now this is awesome again. And basically you've got the singles, a patch where I'm like, this represents like ambition, but not in a way that, communicates to me, and then a bunch of songs that I love, and also, he definitely mixes in true Prince fashion, right? He mixes between like almost like base level sexual content and sound with sort of societal stuff, right? Or even tender stuff, right? I mean, he's a guy that can have a song called Let's Pretend We're Married, right? Like, which is both tender and sort of like, let's pretend we're married so we can screw all the time, right? And then he can write a song like Lady Cab Driver, which has basically like a minute and a half simulated like orgasm from a woman in it, where he's like equal parts like, I guess you'd say using like toxic, male stuff mixed with like sort of like a fantasy, I guess, kind of along the way. So it's a fascinating song. Just the concept of a lady cab driver is like very Prince to me as well. Like he's always like female forward, you know what I mean, in terms of his band, sort of like who he gave his songs to. And but the real gem for me was International Lover, the last song at the end. It's rare that a song tracks in on an album at the very end, like the last track. I was trying to think of other albums where my favorite song might have been the last track on an album that had at least 5 songs. And I think I might go so far as to say International Lover is my favorite song on this album altogether. Lady Cab Driver's close. It's because it's a sonically highly appealing song. So I would say thumbs up on this. I will say that stretch that lasts about 27 minutes in the middle is something that keeps this album from transcending to like great for me. But I mean, how can you go wrong with like Little Red Corvette and 1999 on the front, and like the Murderer's Row of 5 songs at the end? Those alone are an easy recommend. So that's my initial take.
Those three that you listed are the longest songs on the album too. So
okay, there you go.
Contributing to.
And to answer your question there, John, 1999 has 100 million listens. Little Red Corvette, 36 million. And then the next one is Delirious at 10. So, yeah, the first Delirious was a hit, too, I think.
I like that song.
Maybe not as big as the other two. But, yeah, I think I'm kind of mostly with you. This also strikes me as probably the album that, I would assume that this is the one that really made Prince a star. Because I don't remember hearing the hits on the previous record, and this album's very 1980s. That's the other thing too. I mean, this is a very big 80s pop sound. Some of the sounds of the synths are just like they're very much Prince, but they are also very much a sound of the 80s. And
Can I jump in real quick because you'll
Yeah.
love this, Matt? Prince did on the album between Dirty Mind and this one have an album called Controversy, which was apparently similar to Dirty Mind. And it says that there was a minor hit on that album, Matt. The song Back You Off was the minor hit right there with You Is a You. So there was a single on Controversy. So
Okay. All right.
continue.
So, but yeah, I think that this, and I don't say that this sounds like an 80s album. It's a bad thing. It's just, it is what it is. It's there's a lot of upbeat stuff on here. There's a lot of, it's very danceable in a lot of areas. I agree. I think some of those songs it's too long, right? I think that I don't dislike, the Let's Pretend We're Married, DMSR, or Automatic in and of themselves. I just think I don't see the need to go 7, 8, 9 minutes in those songs. I think that they could have been much better songs, just condensed. I liked what he was doing with the synths and the structure of the song. It's just I just question the need to go that long with those songs.
And there are so many synths on this album.
Yes,
it's
synth
slathered.
heavy.
Yes.
It's like the 80s. And then you've got a song like Free or International Lover, which kind of brings the tone down. It's it's a much more of a ballad. It let's there's some build up there with Free, and then at the end Prince showcases his vocals, which are great. He's got a scream like no other. Prince can just let it out, man. He's got a great voice. International Lover just made me laugh at all the innuendo and all the like the the 747 of love.
Yeah,
and
thank you for flying Prince Air.
Yeah, and yeah, he's laying all the metaphors and everything on there. So I was laughing a lot there.
He said upright and locked position was my favorite metaphor of all of them. So yes.
There's definitely filler in here. I think All the Critics Love You in New York I wasn't as into that one as much. But I think it starts off with 3 great tracks. I like Delirious too. It's kind of got this goofy keyboard part that just just throughout the song, and which I think it's good. It's only 4 minutes long. I'm glad that didn't go 9, because that would get where that's not a sound that's what he should do on more of these other songs, I think. But yeah, Prince is this is the sound of Prince, the sound of the 80s, the sound of him becoming a star. And I just think, I don't think this needs to be a double album. I think probably keep all the songs here, just like shave some of the several minutes off of multiple songs, and I would be much higher on this. So I'm a slight thumbs up, or probably a solid thumbs up on this. But if you're, I wasn't familiar with any song beyond Delirious on this, so there's a lot of new stuff on here, and I liked it. So and I would encourage other people to listen to it if they were trying to get into Prince. But yeah, just be aware it is. I like that, John. Pack your lunch, because it's going to take a little while. But definitely a solid record.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. This is, to me, kind of what I think of when I think of Prince music. I think this is his statement, or MO, raison d'etre for his music. I mean, the track DMSR, which stands for Dance Music Sex Romance, that's really what Prince is all about. all 4 of those things intertwined together on his record, and you get all of that here. I find Prince so amusing listening to his albums. He clearly seems to, he's clearly very talented, but he also seems to be having fun and likes to push the envelope and use those double entendres freely, and just really kind of put sex, out front in a way that no other artist that we listen to really does. And such, I guess, I mean, I think there's other ones that do maybe something like Iggy Pop or something, but in such kind of an accessible way, or a way that you can, I don't know if you can ignore it, but it's just so palatable. He makes it so fun, I guess.
Well, and it comes from this interesting, like, male perspective, but like androgynous male, whereas most like sex from male musicians is very overt, right? And basically about like dominating, right? Kind of like, I'm gonna seduce you, and you know what I mean, win you over. Whereas like Prince is like like sometimes he gets like that, but then other times it's sort of like, I'm gonna, just pleasure you, you know, or I'm just gonna like talk about the idea of connection, like almost like a female like stereotype of it. So yeah, it's just funny to hear a guy that can sound so soft, right, and like high pitched at times, also get like craven. You know, I think that's what's so funny about Prince. It's, you know, he's this interesting mishmash of.
And maybe that's maybe it's a more, if not egalitarian, like more realistic way of thinking about sex and just having fun with it, or maybe a way that more people can relate to, I guess, would be a way to think about it. And it's still
certainly more women can relate
Yeah.
to. I think that's a big piece of it. Yeah.
And I think it's couched in the dance sensibility as well. It's very funky, this album. Something like you know, like Lady Cab Driver has this really funky bass beat, so he's still drawing on all those kind of R&B funk you know, foundations that he has. And as far as those long songs in the middle, I think I always wonder if like the intention behind long songs like that is to get them in the clubs, or if they're intentionally made just to be played by DJs as one long thing as opposed to being more concise. I don't know. I think research shows now that songs are shorter than they used to be. So, or at least in the pop genre.
That's so they can get more plays on,
Right.
more complete plays on Spotify to make money.
So, and those long songs have a lot of like repetition, like automatic kind of gets in your head because you keep singing automatic the way he does. And I enjoyed those albums or those songs also. I thought they were good. I don't think they transcend some of kind of the front part of the album, but I think this is kind of essential Prince in terms of just understanding who he is and getting a feel for his music, more so than Dirty Mind. And I mean, I guess probably Purple Rain, which we're going to talk about in a bit, you know, down the road. Is
Sign of the Times too is a big one.
Isn't that a double album also? Sign of the
Yes.
Times. Yeah. So I think it's great. This is an album that you could easily, well, I would say you could split it up and listen to it as two albums in separate times, but then I think the first album would be way stronger than the second. I don't know.
I also think there's going to be a lot of people that completely disagree with me about tracks 4 through 6 being the weakest part of the album, because they're way more accessible than the back end of it. He's taking way more chances in the back end of it, but for whatever reason, that connects with me. So I do want to throw that out there, that some people will be like, what are you talking about? This is vintage Prince, right? And the back end's weird, you know, but I kind of like weird Prince a little bit. So,
and do you guys feel like his guitar playing was kind of front and center on this? There's some instrumental parts, but it's not really like him wailing on
this is
guitar
this is a synth heavy album. This is very synth driven. Even the ballads, Free and International. I mean, there's synth slattered than those songs as well. So that's, I don't know. In a lot of ways, this was kind of like the sound of the '80s for me, and the sound of Prince, which Prince obviously is very influential, very much. It brought a lot of that stuff to the forefront in terms of popularity and whatnot. So, but yeah, this isn't a guitar album at all. Which is why I think, years later, because I've associated Prince so much with the synth, with the '80s, and more pop music. So when I've seen videos of him, particularly when he did that, I mean, everybody talks about that guitar solo he did at I think it was the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, when they did all those people up there doing While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and everybody's playing guitar solo, and then Prince puts everybody to shame in the most ridiculous way possible. And I was just like, holy crap, that guy, like I didn't know he was that good of a guitar player. So, yeah. Go ahead.
When we talked about Dirty Mind, we said, is this a guitar album or not? We kind of like, there's not a ton of guitar on it, but there was way more guitar on Dirty Mind than there was on this album, to the point where I would almost say, by the context of what this sounds like in that Dirty Mind was a guitar album, with other sounds in it. Because there's times where, as I said before, this is just flat. I think Matt said with synths is the right term, because this to me is a synth album, Josh, and there's little guitar on this. It's there, but at times it's buried underneath and I think Prince was trying to make a synth album, to be honest. I think he departed, from, it sounds like his album after Dirty Mind Controversy was sort of in the same lane as Dirty Mind, so he clearly was going for something a little bit more ambitious with this.
Yeah.
And then he makes a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
What a movie. And, thinking about, Matt, you said the revolutions on this too. I think they have their place, but Prince is still kind of front and center. I'm not sure how well they're always like kind of backing singers. It's not like
that's
over.
I'm looking at the personnel right now, and that's most of what's happening is co-lead vocals, backing vocals. That's with a lot of people. And it's interesting. It says Prince is credited with lead and backing vocals and all other instruments except as noted. And there's only a couple of other things, guitar solos. It's really all instruments, because the only other person on here that actually played an instrument was Des Dickerson, who did the guitar solos on the second track, which is Little Red Corvette. Yeah, yep. So Prince is doing all the instrumentation. So yeah, you're right, Josh. This is it's still very much a Prince album, though. It has the revolution on it in some way, shape, or form.
One last thing too, I was a little disappointed. There was a string. Prince's first album has him shirtless, looking longingly, and then his second album, of course, Dirty Mind, has him in a fancy jacket, unbuttoned, and then like a thong pair of underwear. And his third album is him buttoned up with what looks to be maybe lavender or velourish jacket with a smart little X tie at the top. But on this one, it's just sort of like Prince 1999 in sort of vintage stuff. So I always enjoy the albums where Prince puts himself on the cover, because his take and his photography is. Now he goes away from it for a while, and then in Parade he comes back on in sort of one, and then he's just full out naked for Love Sexy, which he just goes all in again with that. So I do put that out.
I love how the last track on Controversy, the album before this, is called Jack You Off. I just mentioned
that. Remember, I said that was the hit. Yeah.
Oh, is that? You cut out there in the beginning. I just heard You Off.
Gotcha.
So yeah, he's that. You're right. He's the overt sexuality is. I don't know. I don't know if there's anybody. I mean, it's Two Live Crew. I guess he comes later on. But
he always has one track that's like comically explicit. Like just to go through his For You has Soft and Wet. Then he goes to Prince. His album Prince, where not as much on. In fairness, there's not there, so he kind of takes a break. But then there's like Head on Dirty Mind and Jack You Off on this, that one, and then it's just there's always one where it's like, boy, you're not even trying to be subtle here, Prince, are you? You're just
yeah.
He does get I think it's the next one has like Darling Nikki, right, which is like he does get a little more subtle with his sex songs later. So, but good for you, Prince, for letting your freak flag fly. So.
Well, in the movie, he adds sex to the movie.
Yeah.
It's not overt in the album; it's overt in the movie.
It's an artistic statement, Josh. The whole. So.